everybody. Welcome back to the podcast, the project investigation collaboration with your hosts, the founder of the Veritas Project, Robert Curtis.
Hello.
And investigator Todd Boyer. That is me. And like to welcome you back to the podcast. I'm already messing up this morning.
Right.
So hopefully you'll figure out the topic for today's podcast, and you'll stick around and watch the entire podcast. And I think, Bob, you'll be able to shed some light on our topic. If you'll go ahead and tell us.
We're covering the traditions of Yule this year. So we're going to do a deep dive into the holiday of Yule. So
Yep.
a lot of people don't understand where the Christmas came from. So that's
Right.
what we thought we would go way back.
Right. And then we're also going to cover where kind of Santa Claus and the elves and all that kind of came from, and touch on, some of the traditions of that.
Yep.
And, hopefully you will learn a lot more.
I have a cold.
Yeah, Bob's on the backside of being sick. So
Yeah, so you
have
have
to
to
excuse
forgive
us.
my coughs.
So Yule, also winter solstice,
Yeah.
comes from ancient pagan origins, and celebrated by various cultures, Norse, Germanic, Celtic,
Right.
and it marked the longest night and gradually return of daylight.
Right.
So that's
Really?
where it comes from, and I believe that's December 23rd this year.
Is it?
I believe.
21st.
Is it the 21st? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Around the 21st.
Yeah.
But it's a celestial event, so
Right.
it depends on when the longest night is.
Right. Right. So, it's a time of celebration, rebirth, right? And the winter solstice, it
Right.
has significant meaning in the culture. And it's worldwide tradition. You
Right.
know, 'cause Christmas is everywhere. It's not just, it's amazing
yeah.
how it spread from,
Yeah.
up in, Germanic, Norse, Celtic
Yeah, when I lived
areas.
in Japan, it was big in
Really?
Japan, which you would think is weird for them. They like Kentucky Fried Chicken for
They
Christmas.
do. They do.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
It's a weird thing.
And that's one of the things I find kind of funny. If you're looking for food on Christmas Day, almost all the Chinese restaurants are open.
Yeah.
They're all open, and they do good business. They do
Right.
really good business.
Yep.
So that's a big day for them. So
Right. Right.
So
That's fun.
one of the main Yule traditions is the Yule log,
Right.
which we kind of touched on. We kind of touched on before.
Yeah, we were talking about Krampus.
Yeah. So the Yule log, I hope all of you are still there. We know Krampus came since last time,
You haven't been abducted.
when you haven't been taken away in his little basket.
Right.
But the Yule log is kind of a centralized symbol, and it's funny because a lot of times you find in the American tradition, a lot of people watch the Yule log on TV on Christmas,
Right.
but the actual Yule log should be on the 21st, on the solstice.
21st,
That's
right.
when you should technically be watching the Yule log. So.
Right.
Oh,
There's a lot of back and forth on the Yule log because they say you burn the Yule log for 12 days.
Mhm.
But how is that possible? You could burn a log for 12 days,
Yeah, that's
So
true.
then they took a cake
Right,
and they would put 12 candles in it.
right.
And then you'd burn each of the candles kind of like the menorah, type of deal.
Well, we discussed before, even, they would use a larger tree, like a really knocked down, like large tree, and then
Right.
they would just feed
Feed
it
it. Yeah.
into the fire every day
Right,
or
right.
whatever. Because you really only need a small portion of it burning at any time, and once you get it rolling, them coals will stay hot for
Yeah.
a long time.
Right.
So, but so the log itself actually represents the return of the sun and
Yeah.
the belief to bring good luck and
That you made it through
protection.
the darkness,
Right.
the darkest
And,
time of the year.
And then the ashes from the Yule log were actually scattered in fields as fertility charm for
Right.
the upcoming seasons, for your harvest. So
Good luck and protection
Mhm.
for your crops.
so then Yule also kind of gets into the Christmas tree aspect
Right.
of it.
Evergreens.
The decorating of the evergreens. They used to use holly, because holly is has the bright red berries.
Right.
So, obviously contrasted with the green of the tree, and that's where we get the primary colors of red, green for Christmas because of the holly berries and the green of the tree.
Right, the red and green.
Yep. So you had mistletoe and pine, and these wonderful smells, just made for a great time. And so those symbols were actually representative of life, the tree, and the resilience and the promise of renewal, in the middle of winter. I mean,
Right.
this was a harsh time of year, and luckily we've been having, knock on wood, we're having a decent winter so
Yeah,
far
we
this year.
haven't
It's
had
not
any
too
snow
bad.
yet this year.
No snow yet, and I don't think it's dipped below 40 for a daytime low yet, has
Oh
it?
no, not at night. We've
At,
gotten
at night we've gotten down
the
in there,
20s a couple
but
times,
right
but-
now this year in the Midwest in St. Louis, I can't speak for the rest
yeah,
of you
we
guys.
live in St. Louis, by the way.
So part of the evergreen decorations, we always get sidetracked.
So
You got the wreaths and the garland, and the boughs. They're used to decorate the homes for the Yule season. So
Right.
that's where we got a lot of the home decorations. Now it's gone crazy with the lights, but
right.
whatever.
Yeah, it used to be they would string evergreens into
Into long
big
ropes,
and wrap it around everything in the house. Yeah.
So and
Smells
that made for amazing smelling.
Yeah.
The
Smells
whole
fantastic.
cedar and everything, just absolutely amazing. So then, Yule's a time for feasting.
Feasting. Yep. That's what we
So,
were talking
but
about
that's
with
still a good tradition now. I'm all about a good feasting.
Yeah.
I'm a big boy. I can feast a little. You guys can't see it. I'm sitting down, but I'm actually 6'7", so I'm down for some feasting.
Yeah.
So, so then there was that kind of emphasized kind of a there was hearty foods, comfort foods.
Yeah.
And that kind of went to the medieval English traditions,
Like
toasting
casseroles.
apples, and
Right.
singing carols and ensuring a good harvest.
Right.
So, and you're always now one of the things that we have gotten away from. Obviously, it had roasted meat.
Yeah.
Which we still have because a lot of people do ham and turkey or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But we've got away from like the mulled wine and
Yeah.
I mean we still do the gingerbread houses, but the mulled wine was a big one. So
That's pretty cool how they do that too. You ever seen this? You stick the poker in the fire,
yeah,
and then the end of it glows.
Right,
You
right.
dip that in your wine, and then that's how mulled wine is made.
really,
Awesome.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that. That's
So
a new
like,
one for me.
That hiss, like, psst, and there you go, mulled wine.
Nice. So kind of it almost like flash cooks it, I
Right.
guess. I mean, I guess you could put it in a hot frying pan and do that at home,
I
and
guess,
then
yeah.
like immediately, get the pan really hot, and then turn the fire off, and then dump the wine in, and then there you go. We
Probably.
kind of have the same kind of
Right, if you had like a cast iron.
yeah. Get it screaming hot. Yeah, cast iron. Yeah, that'd probably do it. If you're looking to make mulled wine this year, I mean, I encourage you to look it up. Bring back a tradition.
Yeah.
You
This isn't the Food Network, but
No, I'm just throwing out ideas here.
it involves something burning, so I was
Yeah.
excited about it, right? Yeah.
I get excited over the weirdest stuff. I don't know if you saw my TikTok from this week. It was a boulder that looked like a dragon's egg.
Oh wow!
So whatever. I get excited
That
over the
could
weirdest
be.
things.
Right?
So also with the Yule, we kind of get into the gift giving,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
So
presents.
the exchanging of gifts is kind of a goodwill for the community, right? And they symbolize the spirit of generosity and sharing of what you had, during the holidays, and obviously it's involved into the modern practice of changing presents and commercialization and
Right.
I don't know. I think gifts mean more when they're, they're made because it takes time. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Now
But
you
your
just
thought
get
goes
on.
into it. Not just going to the store and like, oh well, yeah, I bet so and so would like that thing.
That's one thing I always try to myself as a gift giver. I try to think of the person, what they like to do. It's not just I go out and I find something. There's that.
Right.
Oh, I bet he'll like that. No, I want something that I know you'll like, that has meaning, and I'll tell you why I bought that gift too. You know
Right.
what I mean? It's
Oh yeah. Right.
I explain, hey, I noticed you did this and that, and I thought this would be a good to do this or whatever, and try to put a little thought into it. I know when you're buying for like 16 brothers and sisters and then 18 nephews and nieces and the grandkids.
Yeah.
And, I know it's a little hard to that, but the people close to you,
Yeah.
and
It's worth it, so that way when you get older, like we're getting older, there's less and less people to buy stuff for
Yeah.
every year.
Yeah, that's true.
So spoil them while they're around,
Well, and then another thing with that is I had a step parent that I did not like at one point in my life. The only good thing I got from that guy is he said that Christmas presents are for wants, not needs. Christmas presents aren't socks and clothing unless somebody specifically says, "Ooh, I really want that jacket."
Yeah.
Or, stuff like that. So that's one thing I've always stayed away from is buying socks or things that somebody's going to use. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like I try to Christmas is for wants, not needs. I'll just stop there.
Yeah. That's a good idea. I like that.
So, because you can always buy what you need whenever you need it all year round. Christmas is supposed to be the time where you go, "Oh, wow, this is awesome," you know? So, whatever.
Right.
Maybe you guys can start following that rule.
Celebrate your family.
Yep.
Right.
Go ahead.
And it's always good to give stuff to your neighbors too, because that was a part of it. Like to make sure that your neighbors are taken care of for the winter, right?
You want to blow your neighbor's mind? Literally, even if you go buy some pre-made cookie dough, make your neighbor a plate of cookies. Take it over. You will blow their mind.
Yeah.
Make them some chocolate chip cookies or whatever, or, just take them around and spread the cheer. Nobody does that anymore.
No.
You know how freaked out your neighbors would be if you brought them a plate of cookies,
Right.
and told them Merry Christmas.
How long does that take to cook,
Yeah, it takes, 20 minutes?
Yeah.
12 minutes to make the cookies and 10 minutes to plop them out onto
like
a
$4.
sheet pan. Yeah, with $5 worth of cookie dough or whatever.
Well, they got those new ones. They come in a little log. All you gotta do is
there you go. Just slice them. That's it.
That's it.
I mean, I think you can get big tubs of cookie dough at Sam's or Costco, can't you?
Oh, yeah.
So then all you do is scoop it and boop. So, spread the love this year.
Yeah.
You
never know when they're going to see somebody, cutting your catalytic converter off at 3 o'clock in the morning. You might, get on their good side early. As they look out the window, oh, look, somebody's stealing their catalytic converter. Oh, dummies, let's go back to bed. They think, oh, man, that guy got me some cookies this year. I'm going to call them up. Doot, doot, doot. Hey, somebody's stealing your catalytic converter.
There you go. Never hurts to make a new friend,
Right. Yeah.
So, not only that, just put people in a good mood. And then you got to think, too, there's a lot of people out there that are older and their family has moved away.
Yeah.
And, I don't know how many times in my day job that, older people just want to talk to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'll try to chew my ears off.
Yeah.
Just, trying to, because they have nobody to talk to.
Right, there's bored.
Go over, visit your neighbor, take them some cookies, give them a Merry Christmas, take them a card,
Yeah.
I mean, go to Dollar Tree, buy a bunch of cards.
There you go.
Now you spent a whole $2 on your neighbor, what's that going to hurt? So, we're going to force you to spread the Christmas tree.
There you go. Connect with your neighbors.
So back to where we're going. Let's pull ourselves out of that rabbit hole.
We got out of the rabbit hole, back on the track.
So Yule provides the opportunity to share meals together and strengthen social bonds. And that's kind of where we were going. But then also it includes music and communal rituals.
Yeah.
And I think that's something we've all kind of stepped away from too, is the music of the holiday. I mean, everybody kind of listens to Christmas carols, but there's no caroling really anymore,
right? They don't go door to door.
unless you're part of something. I guarantee if you go over and hand them that plate of cookies and sing them Jingle Bells, they'll think that's the most wonderful thing in the world. Especially if you have an older neighbor, they will absolutely think you will make their Christmas. I'm telling you. So.
Well, and like we were talking about for Halloween, kids don't trick or treat anymore.
Right.
Not here anyway. They go to the trunk or treats or whatever. Mm-hmm. But that was a way to get to know your neighbors, right? Yep. You went house to house and you could see who was a crazy person, right? So that way you knew,
right.
When people talk about, 3 houses down from you, like, I know that guy, right? We went over there for Halloween, and they were,
right.
There were a bunch of fruits over there, so.
Yeah,
It's the
no
same
fruitcake.
thing.
Speaking of fruit, no
Right.
fruitcake.
It's the same thing
Nobody likes fruitcake.
with the Christmas traditions, right?
Right.
You would go to your neighbors and carol, so that way if they open up the door and they're like, hey, here's some apple cider. Oh, we love that song. If they just peek out the curtains at you, you're like, all
Right.
right, check that one. That guy is a weirdo.
So you want to cover the Wild Hunt? I know
Yeah.
that's one of your favorites there.
Yeah, in Norse mythology, right, going for Yule, where it comes from, Odin would take all of the people that didn't make it to Valhalla, and they would have the Wild Hunt every year. So basically, they would try to redeem themselves in this one last like hurrah of like a storm of the city, and people would basically they were zombies. They were the rotting corpses or spirits of the people that didn't make it over to Valhalla but died during the year doing something silly,
Right.
like changing a light bulb or something. They fell off a ladder and they didn't get to go to Valhalla, so they have this one last hurrah where they can cause mischief in the village and hopefully die doing something spectacular so that they can go off to the table. And Odin would take everybody, like, hey, come on, dummies, we're gonna go. Here's our last shot. You got to go redeem yourself in the village. So they called that the Wild Hunt for some reason.
And they believed it to go across the sky.
Yeah, yeah.
And its appearance was an omen and a symbol, of the time between the years
Right.
that were coming up, because the old year was coming to an end and the new year, was coming. So then we got the symbolization of candles.
Right.
So candles represented obviously the return of the light.
Of the light.
Because we're going into the darkest day, and now Yule turns into where the days are starting
The days
to get longer.
start to get longer. Right.
So that, of course, turned into the lights on the tree. There was a lot of candles on the Christmas tree back in the
Right.
day, so that's where that kind of came from. And it's all about light over darkness, some traditions are you light a candle each night until the new year.
Right.
So
yeah. Kwanzaa and the Jewish menorah, they all do that.
So get into modern celebrations. Obviously Yule was pagan,
Right.
right? So, it's influenced with, the modern Christmas tradition now has shaped into this with, St. Nicholas and all that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of contemporary Christmas customs. Now there's a Yule log cake.
Yeah.
That they, the rolls,
that's
it's a
what we were
big
talking about, yeah.
tradition. It's a rolled cake now.
Yeah.
And that's all comes from the modern, it all came back from the pagan and Wiccan, roots.
Right. And trying to incorporate that into modern, your modern celebrations, because the Romans figured out it was easier to just put your Christian holiday onto the pagan holiday and say, oh, we're just going to
Change it a little,
Not going to change it. We're just going to rename it this year.
Yeah.
And then, a couple years down, you say, okay, we'll get rid of this goat. And then we'll have St. Christopher instead. You know what I'm saying? So that it was easier to do it in drips and drams than it was to come in and be like, you dummies are worshiping this guy now. Like, oh, we don't like that guy. Well, I didn't say you had a choice in it.
Right.
You're doing this now.
All right. So that covers Yule. Let's get into the modern.
Right.
So
Sandy Claus.
Santa Claus. I wonder if that's where because Krampus means claws.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Santa Claus.
Just saying,
Right.
So Santa Claus, also known as Saint Nicholas or Kris Kringle.
Right.
He has diverse origins that
Oh yeah.
come from
All
all over the place.
Yeah.
In Germany and Old English, and obviously from the Norse and the pagan, of gift giving and everything. So he goes way back. Now, the modern image of Santa Claus that we know is actually largely influenced by
Coca-Cola.
an 1823 poem,
Yeah.
A Visit from St. Nicholas.
Oh, right.
So, and its more common name is The Night Before Christmas.
Right.
Right? And I don't know about you guys, but I could probably almost recite that by heart. I mean, I haven't heard it in years, but I still know it because we heard it so much as
Right.
kids,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's another thing that's kind of going away.
Yeah.
So so Saint Nicholas was actually a 4th century bishop from Myra. It would be present day Turkey, and he's the key inspiration. And you have the Dutch tradition of the putting the wooden shoes out, and
Oh, right,
you would
right.
put the candy in the wooden shoes.
Right.
So there's a lot of iterations of Santa Claus for each different area of the world. And then go ahead and tell talk about the Coca-Cola Santa
yeah.
Claus. So
Well, originally, Saint Nick had a green long robe that went to his knees
Yep.
almost, and it was decorated with all sort of Celtic, like weaving and really nice ornate, Celtic decorations. And then Coca-Cola, because their colors are white and red, changed Santa Claus to the red and white, and then they made his outfit shorter because whenever you wanted, mall Santa Claus, you didn't want to have a big flowing robe,
Right.
right? So that's why now Santa Claus is red and white because of Coca-Cola.
Yep.
So just think about
Bet
that.
you didn't know that, did you? And that was like in the 30s.
30s, yeah. Right.
That came about.
Right at the beginning of the Great
So,
Depression.
and now that's kind of the universal color of Santa
Right.
Claus. I mean, you can't find him
never
anywhere
see
else. So,
Santa that's any other color.
and now instead of, all the other things that Santa Claus was about, the wooden shoes or Saint Nicholas,
Right.
and the presents. Now it's a big bag of toys,
Right, right. It's all
So
commercial.
it's all commercialized, and and Rudolph and the reindeer and all that kind of
Right.
stuff.
Oh, yeah.
When it originated as a guy walking around putting candy in wooden shoes and
Right.
stuff.
Giving kids a little treat,
So.
just a little something.
So let's talk about the North Pole and the workshop. According to tradition, obviously Santa lives at the North Pole.
Right.
That's his place. He hangs out there,
Which
and
is brilliant. If you were if you were trying to tell kids that Santa lived in a place, but you
Right.
didn't want to actually ever go there,
Right.
Because if you told everybody Santa Claus lived in
Florida.
Florida, right? They'd be like, well, can we go visit Santa Claus? Like,
Right.
no, right. He lives at the North Pole, though. There's no chance that your kids are going to go there because you could, watch Discovery Channel all week and be like, look, there's no way
Okay.
we're going there.
So I have a great story that I just learned the whole story of this. So NORAD tracks Santa Claus.
Yeah, they do it every year.
Okay. So do you know why NORAD tracks Santa Claus?
Oh,
Originally, there was a phone number in a paper that said, talk to Santa Claus, call this number.
right.
They accidentally put the number for NORAD.
Ah,
So, like, the phone at NORAD, the first person called was a kid, and dude's like, hey, you're calling the wrong dang place, or whatever. Well, then the dad got on the phone with the guy from NORAD and was like, hey, this is the situation. This was the phone number that was printed, blah, blah, blah. So the guy from NORAD ran with it. He got extra people online to answer the phones.
Oh.
And stuff.
That's
When I say online, he brought them online, not online as in computer. He brought them up to answer the phones, and then got on with the local radio station and said, hey, we're tracking Santa Claus, blah, blah, blah. So that's how NORAD got involved with the whole Santa Claus
that's
tracking.
fun.
Don't show this to your kids.
Right. Yeah.
Keep this one away from your kids. But
Right. That's funny.
So, right, like you said, if you're going to hide something, hide
Right.
it in the North Pole. I guess South Pole would be the better place now because nobody's allowed to go to the South Pole or anywhere near the South Pole for some reason. I don't know. That's another conspiracy for us for another day.
Oh yeah, we could. I could tell you the whole thing about that.
But so
That's a deep rabbit hole.
yeah. So the popularity of the North Pole kind of gained popularity in the 19th century. And, it's been a staple from then on. It's supposed to be an enchanted place with elves working year round creating toys.
Making all the toys, right?
And that whole came about because
Well,
Santa
excuse me.
Claus's helpers were supposed to be magical creatures or magical beings, and they just kind of shifted into elves.
Right.
And that's where You know, and then of course in some things, you know, they'll say, well, Santa Claus is an elf too.
Yeah.
So
He's a jolly old elf.
Yep. So you get. Go ahead, Bob. Take a
Sorry.
break. I know you need a break here. A lot of talking gets into your throat there.
And the coughs.
So let's talk about kind of the reindeer and where the reindeer
Reindeers,
came
yeah.
from. So the reindeer pulling the sleigh. You know, obviously that's a big element of the Christmas lore.
Right.
You know, you got Rudolph. Obviously, is the most famous one, and I'm not going to sit here and read them all out.
Yeah.
You know, so
Well, in the Norse tradition, if you would think it was Germanic,
Right.
right, you could take a sleigh with reindeers and go to the villages because
Right.
it's all right there.
and that's
then they
how
go-
they pulled their sleighs. They didn't have the typical horses, and reindeers are actually, for as big a creature they are, they're very agile.
Right.
You know, so they could get through the snow and all that kind of stuff. And when we talk about reindeer, we're not talking about like the white-tailed deer that are around here. Reindeer are huge. I mean, they are absolutely huge. So they would be used as a pack animal or a you know, an animal to pull the sleigh.
Blah.
As an animal to pull the sleigh, you
Yeah.
know, in that modern life at that
Right.
time. So
And then they developed into flying reindeer.
right,
Because
the magical. How else are you
Right.
going to get around the world? Yep, I got you.
Ugh.
So, let's see. So obviously we go back to the gift giving traditions.
Right.
Right. We covered the elves a little bit. So, I mean, how far do we got to go with the gift giving? We're right back to where
Right.
we started with the Yule tradition. Now, obviously in different cultures you have different Santa Clauses, like we discussed that before.
Right.
So in you know, one version it's the gift bringer. It's not Santa Claus. You know,
Blah.
and they all have different names for Santa Claus, and it's still roughly the same kind of thing, but you know, we're back
all
in
based
there.
off of the same
It's all
guy.
based off the same thing. So, you know, now pop culture's got Santa Claus everywhere, and
Right.
you know, so TV
Like
and
say
movies
even in
and-
Japan.
yeah. So the evolution of Santa Claus, right, which Bob talked about, you know, the modern merging of the various different things, and
They incorporate more.
you know,
Blah.
so you know, we're gonna kind of wrap this up. Poor Bob's
Yeah, I think
kind of at the end of his
medicine's
rope
starting to
here.
wear off. I think it only goes for 4 hours now.
So we'll kind of bring this to an end. We'll wrap it up. You know, once again, we encourage you to go out there and share the Christmas spirit with everyone, and we hope that we've been informative.
Yeah.
And hope you enjoyed the podcast. Remember, check us out on all our
All the
other social
socials.
medias. Bob's our R.S. Curtis
Yep.
on a lot of stuff, and the Veritas Project, and I'm Investigator Todd on everything. I know we're both on TikTok and Facebook and
Yeah, all the
Instagram,
stuff.
everything. We're on it
We're
all.
moving slowly towards the Spotify.
Yep, and we're going to be on Spotify here, hopefully in the next couple weeks.
Blah.
So that way you can just listen to us if you want, and you don't got to see these ugly mugs. You know, just listen to us
Right.
on your way to work. Once again, thank you for watching. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Happy Hanukkah. Happy Yule. Whatever you want to celebrate. Happy holidays.
Yeah.
You know,
All the holidays.
What's the one from Seinfeld?
I have
We're at a
the,
loss,
I have
so-
the ornament upstairs. Festivus.
Festivus.
Yeah.
Festivus for the rest of us.
I have the pole is over there somewhere.
Yeah.
We actually did a Festivus a couple years ago.
And Bob's tree is amazing, by the way. He's got like everything you can think of on there. He's got Ecto One and
Yeah.
and
Maybe we'll
just
do
all
a
these-
short. We'll show the tree.
Yeah, there you go. But you know, thanks for watching, and remember
Stay curious.
and find the truth, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye.
All right.